how you can add new content to your Thought Farmer intranet. Adding new top-level content will happen from the homepage, and any new content that you add here is going to show up in this green top navigation bar. To add new content areas to your intranet, if you are an administrator, you will see on the homepage on the right here this gear icon. I'm going to go ahead and click on that and click on Add Top Level Page. In this scenario, I'm going to set up a new section to create all of my department spaces. I type the title of the page, I choose my correct content type, and I'm ready to publish this page. If you wanted to learn more about the different content types, there is another video training session that will cover that more in detail. Click on Publish, and now we can see the department page showing up in our top navigation bar. Now you'll notice that as you start adding new pages, the newer pages are always going to bump to the front of the navigation bar. That said, you still have full flexibility to decide what order you would like all of these content areas to show up in. So let's take a look at that. I'm going to click on my gear icon again, and I will select Reorder Navigation. In this view, I can see all of the pages that have been created at the top level of this intranet, and I can simply drag and drop them around to decide the order in which they appear. You'll see that the department page has now been moved right after the resources page. Another option is to create pages in this top here, in this top navigation bar, but hide them from the top navigation bar while still showing them in the left-hand navigation that we see over here. This left-hand navigation is an exact mirror of what you see in the top level, but some pages you can choose to hide them from the top navigation bar to save space and only show them on the left-hand navigation. For example, the knowledge base. I'm going to click into this knowledge base area, and to edit this page, I can click on the pencil icon here. For each page that is set up at the very top of the navigation, you will see that there is an option to display this page in the top navigation bar or to not display it. By default, this checkbox will always be checked. In this case, I'm going to uncheck it and save my page. Now I can see the knowledge base is no longer showing up here in the top navigation bar, but it is still there. It hasn't been removed. If I go back to my home page, I'll see that knowledge base can still be accessed here from the left-hand side. Let's take editing our homepage one step further. Of course, we have to spend some time building out our content and our navigation, but you also want to spend some time deciding what your homepage is going to look like, other than the navigation. And as you can see on this fictitious intranet, we have a lot of news on this homepage. We have a poll, a birthday card, a Twitter feed on the right. All of this content is brought to our homepage in the form of cards. That means that you can add different pieces of content that live throughout the site and add them to your homepage to surface them there and provide quick links for your staff. So let's take a look at how we set that up. Again, we're going to click on the gear icon here on the right, and we'll click on Edit Homepage. On this edit page, you can decide a few configuration settings. For example, do you want to display the home link in the navigation bar? Do you want to show a link to the user's profile? Do you want to enable drop-down menus? But you can also, on the right-hand side, click on Setup Cards to configure which content and what different collection of cards is going to show up on the homepage. For this homepage, we can see that we have a number of news cards enabled. We have an activity feed, and this is the poll and birthday that we looked at when we were just looking at the homepage. So the card preview is really kind of a wireframe of what your homepage looks like. The cards that you see here on the page are in the exact location that they show up when we're viewing the homepage. If we wanted to add or remove cards from this homepage template, we're going to click on Modify Template. Once we do that, you can see that there's now an ability to add cards, remove cards, and even move cards around within the template. I'm going to click on Add Card here to add a calendar card on my homepage that shows me which people are in the office at any point in time. So I'm going to click on Add Card. This brings up my card library on the right-hand side, which I can quickly search the appropriate card that I wanted to add here. I now have a mini calendar card that I can click to set it up and choose the calendar that I want to add on my homepage. You can also play around with different layouts for your homepage. The one that we're looking at here is the default Thought Farmer layout for homepages. It has two narrower columns on the left and right hand side of the page and a wider column in the center. If we wanted to switch that around, we can do so by clicking the layout icon in the top right corner of this window. When I do, I can now see that I'm looking at the 3-column wide center layout, but maybe I want to change it up and change this into a 3-column 50-50 split layout. When I do so, you'll notice that these 2 columns on the right have now resized and are of equal width. I can go a step further and remove some of the cards or even place them in another location. And when I'm done making those changes, I can click on Done and save my homepage. Now, when we reload the homepage on our fictitious Pacific Credit Union intranet, you'll see it looks quite a bit different. I still have all of my news here on the left-hand side, but now my activity feed has been placed on the right side of this homepage in the 3rd column on the right-hand side. The last thing we're going to do in this session is take a quick look at news cards. News cards are very prominent on most people's intranet homepages. So we'll take a look to see how we can add one and how we can configure which articles or which news posts are going onto these homepage news cards. So we click on our gear icon again to edit our homepage once more. And we're going to go again in Setup Cards. On most of your home pages, when you go and edit the template, you'll see that there are already a few news cards available that you can configure. In this case, let's add a new news card on the right-hand column. In this news card, I can now grab and find any news feed that is available on the intranet and add it onto my homepage. I'm going to select the marketing news feed here. If I wanted to add multiple news feeds, I could do that as well. In any news cards, there's a list of configurations that you can choose from to decide what that news feed is going to look like and how it's going to show up. You can choose between grid or list view type news, and if you have a news feed that doesn't have images associated with it, you can select that option here as well. If you have multiple news feeds on the news card like we have here, you can decide if you want to group them by news source or if you want to display all news articles chronologically, meaning the most recent one would go on the top. I'm going to leave it at that option, and I will set this to display the 3 most recent news articles to display at any time. I'll click on Update and save my page. And now we can see, if we scroll down here on the left-hand side, that my new news feed is showing up here. That's just a quick overview of your internet's homepage and some of the options you will find here after first logging on.